Okay, we still have 5 minutes, 5分钟。我们轻法的时候走路不要太快，也不要太慢，刚好 just right。太慢，我们在这等着5分钟，那就太慢；太快呢就没有意义。所以 whoever is the first one sets the pace. And if you go real slow, you look very awesome, but everybody's like, hurry up already. And if you go too fast, it's like, so just right. Not too fast, not too slow. Okay, let's begin. tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. To the blessed. Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Lahadi Samyao Sanputoshe. Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Lahadi Samyao Sanputoshe. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Thank you for the Dharma request. 感恩。好，可以了啊，阿弥陀佛。Good, we appreciate it. Good evening. My name is Hung Shi. Tonight is November 1st here in the Gold Coast of Australia. It is the first day of October. We're in the middle of Scorpio. It is a Wednesday, and we're here at the midway through our GuanYin Bodhisattva recitation. We're going to be continuing to look into the 妙法莲华经普门品, the Universal Gateway chapter of the Lotus Sutra. So, everybody, if you would please put your palms together and recite after me. Namo 妙法莲华经，法华会上佛菩萨。Namo 妙法莲华经。法华会上佛菩萨。Homage to the sutra on the lotus flower of the wondrous Dharma and the Dharma flower assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, now that first word, it's not homage, it's homage. English is funny, right? It should be homage, right? It's not like go home. No, it's homage. Homage. We pay homage. That's just English. Namo. Okay, there we go. But tomorrow, you know what everybody's going to say tomorrow? Homage to. Yes, we have to learn. That's all right. Good, good, good. Now let's acknowledge country. We respectfully acknowledge the Kumbumeri people of the Ugambe language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. We say, 我们恭敬地承认有冈贝语族的贡布马里人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向做唯有放弃主权的第一民族原住民致敬。All right. Go through the Pomo people, and we go through the Ohlone people, and moving on to the bell song, which we'll try tonight. Here we go. The bell sound wide resounds out 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报贪恶后得。 Done. Got it. Put that away for now. Okay, how do you like my kangaroo bowing to the Buddha here? That's what we're doing over there at 102. We're teaching kangaroo. No, I can't take any credit. But he didn't sit there for hours. We came down at lunchtime, and Cliff was driving, and we saw him sitting there in front of the Buddha. We had lunch and came back, and he was still there. Amazing. So, all right, I think that's the influence of our Fa Hui here. Even the kangaroos are getting the spirit. Okay, what have we learned so far, everybody? We have learned about what is called Shunsheng Jiuku. That's the message of the Pumenpian is Shunsheng Jiuku. Shunsheng Jiuku would be translated as something like follows out she follows our cries and saves us from troubles. That's kind of Shunsheng Jiuku. This is the message of the Pumenpian. The Guanyin, the heart of it is, there's lots of other dharmas here, but the heart of it is, her vows say, when you need her and call on her name, she shows up. That's Guanyin Pusa. What kind? Let's take a look. Called the Qi-nan. Okay. Then what? San Du. Du. Then Er Qiu. Okay. Then San Shi Er Ying. San Shi Er Ying. And then this is not in the Pumenpian, but this is in where? This one is interesting. This is in the Huayan Jing. 19无所谓19无所谓 There you go. Okay, so look at this is the opening part of the Pumenpian. There are 7 rescues. We heard them all last night. We finished them. Then there are 3 poisons. We heard about them last night. Greed, anger, delusion. Then there's 2 requests. We're going to get there tonight. Then there's San Shi Er Ying. That's the 32 responses. Then there are 19 kinds of courage. Guanyin Bodhisattva, including what? Fear of the dark. Fear at night. Just normal kids at night. The lights go out and you think there's something in the closet. There's something under my bed. Namo Guanyin Pusa. Guanyin Pusa says, no worries. Don't worry. No worries. You're fine. So, that's good to teach kids about fearlessness from when you're scared, call on Guanyin. All right, so let's go right to here. The request for children. Okay, here we go. Let's start right there. Here's where we begin. Are we ready? Here we go. I'll give you a line, you give it to me. 无尽意观世音菩萨有如是等大威神力多所饶益是故众生常应心念 There's the line. There's the line right there. 是故众生我们应该常常保持我们记得观世音菩萨在我们心里，不要忘了他。Okay, ready? Here we go. I'll give you a line, you give it to me. Infinite resolve. The Bodhisattva who listens to the sounds of all the world with her magnificent spiritual power confers such abundant benefits as these. And so living beings should always keep her in their hearts and hold her name in mind. Okay, when this layout was put out, we had the wrong pronoun. So Guanyin Pusa is feminine, so her. So keep her in mind and hold her name. Okay, now here we go. Are we ready? Let's read. Let's see. We'll do both. We'll do both boys and girls. Ready? Here we go. 若有女人摄欲求男，礼拜供养观世音菩萨，辩胜福德，智慧之男，摄欲求女，辩胜断正，有相之女，素之德本，众人爱敬。Okay, what is that? What's going on? Ready? If women seeking sons bow to and make offerings to the Bodhisattva Guanyin, they will give birth to sons, happy, virtuous, and wise. If instead they wish for daughters, they will bear gifted daughters with deep-rooted, wholesome character, beloved and respected by all. Okay, we need to read the next line. 无尽意，观世音菩萨有如是力。Infinite resolve. Such is the power of the Bodhisattva who listens to the sounds of all the world. Okay, so take a look. What happens? Guanyin Bodhisattva looked as when Guanyin was a Buddha, before she was a Buddha, she looked at all the places where people have trouble. All the things that bother us, all the things that make us unhappy, cause deep suffering, misery. And she said, I'm going to provide a way to put an end to that suffering. I'm going to get in there where it really hurts, where people really suffer. I'm going to help, she said. One place, who would think? People, couples who want to start a family and can't. Suffering, right? That's miserable. If you really do, you have a happy marriage and you want to get sons and daughters, and you can't. Guanyin said, no baba. That's my baba. Call my name, and I will work it out. I'll make it possible. Now, in the past, where did people go? Yeah, I know in Malaysia, and Singapore, I know. In the past, there were things you could do. You could go to the midwife, go to a certain doctor who would give you something special to eat, make you drink a certain kind of soup. You could go to a certain tree. There were special trees where you could go and circle 3 times and maybe spill pig blood, maybe tie a red cloth, light incense. And worse, sometimes there were just real, shady, like magic stuff that people would talk about, You have to do it on the 15th of the month. Full moon. And some people would do that and make money. And did it work? Oh, you weren't sincere. 不够诚心。所以不灵。Sometimes you could really get in trouble if they. So that's what people have done. And if you try and no baby, like, what the husband would do find a second wife. Blame the woman. It's her fault. Got to go find Shaosan. Is that what it's called? Right? So, you know, and if you can't carry on the family name, oh, trouble, you know. So, Guanyin Pusa says, okay, I know what to do. I will help. I will help. So, call on my name and we will grant your wish. Man nida niso chodoyan. That's what Guanyin Pusa. Look at that. That's so interesting, isn't it? That Guanyin would go there to Jiu. It's really a certain kind. And it's not only boys. This is what I really love about the Buddha Dharma, is it's not, of course everybody wants sons, so forget the girls. Nobody wants girls. Not true. If you want a daughter, you get what kind of a daughter? 端正有相. Very handsome, very proper looking, with what? 素知德本众人爱敬, who is good. She's good-hearted. She's got virtue that people really like. A lovable daughter who is kind-hearted, virtuous, attractive, and the kind of daughter that everybody goes, oh, she's just a blessing to her family, right? Guanyin says, yeah, I'll give you that kind of girl. You want one? You got her. So, how about that? What a compassionate thought for Guanyin Bodhisattva. So, Guanyin Pusa Yu Ru Shiri. That's compassion. That's so nice. And if you think, better than money, because even if you don't have any money, but you have a good daughter, a good son in the family, people are happy. People can get through having no money. But suppose you're wealthy, but you have a rotten kid. How miserable. Somebody who gambles. Somebody who goes out every night and spends the money, family's money, on living in the fast lane. Miserable. Miserable, because not a good kid. But Guanyin Bodhisattva says, I will give you what kind? 福德智慧之男. I will give you a virtuous, wise boy. What a blessing. What a wonderful blessing for the whole family. Okay, now, what do you do? What do you do? This is how you call on that. Ready? Here we go. Give you a line. You give it back. 若有众生恭敬礼拜观世音菩萨，福不唐捐，是故众生皆应受持观世音菩萨名号。All right. Ready? Any living being who worships and makes offerings to Guan Shi Yin Bodhisattva will never take a loss. Therefore, every single living being should hold Guan Shi Yin Bodhisattva's name in mind. Right. Okay, here's my story. This is a famous story. Everybody who's heard me speak Dharma knows this story. This is a story about Fran Lawton. Fran is one of Master Xuanhua's oldest American disciples. She is her grandmother was a healer in Germany, old-fashioned rural medicine woman in Germany who knew how to grow everything. She could take anything and make it edible, make it into food. She could repair anything. She was one of these women whom the whole village looked after. She could take milk and turn it into butter and turn it into cheese and turn it into cream, and she knew exactly where to go to find the best blueberries when they were ripe, and she would come home with gallons of blueberries. Nobody else knew where the blueberries were. People used to watch where she walked at a certain time of year because she would leave them to the place where the best honey she knew all that stuff. And she passed it on to Fran, her granddaughter. So Fran is, she is Guotong, and Fran lives close to CTDB now. And Fran carries on grandmother's techniques. She gets the best tomatoes and turns them, she just puts up gallons and gallons and gallons of canned tomatoes and tomato juice and tomato sauce. She knows how to bake. Fran bakes the best bread, the best pie, the best cookies, the best, berry tarts, and she knows all the old Kuchen, all the German recipes. And she is also the, Fran is the supervisor of nurses in Mendocino County. She is a public health nurse. She is the one who tells the nurses how to be nurses. She's the inspector of all the best, she's really, really got the skills, and carries on her grandmother's, who she really admired, loved her grandmother, and she's carrying on these abilities. So the problem was, now, she and her husband, Fran and her husband Bob, were hippies. Bob was a rock musician. Na 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 na. They were, when they were, in the 1970s, they followed around rock and roll music and landed in San Francisco, and were looking for somebody to teach them the truth about the world. They met Master Hua and stopped. That was all the further looking they needed to do. They found him, and they were devoted. Bob is Guotong, and she is Guotong, and Shifu married them. Okay, so now they're Dharma protectors at Gold Mountain Monastery, and that was, when the new movie on Master Shenhua, the new Shifu documentary, the people, we need to, Jinfu Shi, we need to get a copy of. It's not finished yet, but there are 2 parts. It's going to be 3 parts. In the very beginning, the blonde woman who speaks in the beginning, that's Fran. You see her, we'll see that video before long. We'll get a copy. It's not finished yet, but it's close. Okay, so married, new Dharma protectors in San Francisco, and guess what? They decide they want to start a family. Good, we'll have kids. We'll raise good kids as Buddhists and like that. So Fran is an RN, she's a registered nurse, and they're having trouble getting pregnant. And so she goes to her supervising physician in the hospital, and the doctor says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You'll never have kids. Your plumbing is not right. Your problem." She said, "Not Bob, it's your problem, friend." So she says, "Oh, So what does she do? Goes to Shifu. "Shifu, the doctor says I can't get pregnant." Shifu goes, what does he say? Shifu goes, 你的信心根本不够，你根本不信观音菩萨，我怎么教你们？ He says, your faith in Guanyin Bodhisattva is just too puny. What have I taught you? Fran says, Shifu, you taught us that if we worship and make offerings to Guanyin Bodhisattva, we'll never take a loss. Shifu goes, you don't believe, do you? Is it real, Shifu? Says Shifu. So, he said, what does it mean to say, Gong Jing Li Bai? It means bow to Guanyin and hold Guanyin's, be respectful, and Jie Ying Shou Chi Guan Shi Yin Pusa Ming Hao. You should always recite Guanyin Bodhisattva's name. That's what it says. Do you do it? She says, well, sort of, Shifu. Shifu goes, you really don't believe. You mean if I really? Of course, that's what it means. So go and do it, he said, Guotong. So Fran says, wow, I guess I really should. So she starts. And this is a strong-minded woman, just she's determined. That she believes in the Buddha Dharma, she believes in Guanyin, and she really wants to have a good Buddhist family. So she starts. She starts bowing to Guanyin, reciting Guanyin's name. She memorizes the Dabe Jo, the Great Compassion Mantra, and she is vigorous. And she, not only that, she goes to her colleagues at the hospital and gets them interested in Guanyin. Because why? They've heard, they know, the doctor, their supervising physician said, sorry friend, you'll never have kids. So they're like, this is a faith cure. They've seen, they know the doctor, it's their boss, who told her, nope, sorry. So it's like Guanyin versus medical science, right? And so Fran is there, Namo Dano Dola Ye Namo Ye. Guanyin Bodhisattva's great. So 3 months goes by, Shifu comes in to Gold Mountain. Shifu, guess what? Shifu says, what? She says, I'm pregnant. Oh, well, I'm not surprised. So he said, now you have to be even more sincere. 你要加强你的信心. So Fran's like, okay. So Fran increases her bowing and her reciting. And then, sure enough, about 5 months into pregnancy, the doctor says, okay, got to come in for a checkup. And the doctor says, I'm really sorry to tell you, but the baby is upside down. It's called a breech birth. The baby is not in the right position, and it may not succeed, you know. So Fran, Shifu, the doctor says, this baby. What does Shifu say? You know what he says. You have to be more faithful. You have to really believe. Don't listen to all these troubles. Just recite Guanyin's name. So Fran says, okay, sure. So she gets her friends to draw images of Guanyin, as in the Earth Store Sutra says, make images. So they make images of Guanyin Bodhisattva, and Fran is now increasing. She's reciting 108 Great Compassion mantras a day while she works. And so, everybody's really, excited. And so it's time, 9 months, they take her into the hospital, and all her friends are now in the waiting room outside the maternity ward. And they push the gurney in the maternity, and all the friends are outside going, and so the doors of the maternity ward open, and out comes the gurney, and there's Fran, and her eyes are like this, just open wide. What happened? And she said, well, it was like, started to be painful, and then I saw this woman standing at the end of my bed with a smile, and I felt this coolness coming down my head. And she said, and the baby's 8 pounds and has red hair. It's a boy, 8 pounds, huge baby boy. And the boy now is 6'4", and is a fine young man. And he has a brother who's 6'5", 2 boys. So that's the story, and that's we always tell that story because it's like, how did that happen? Sherpa's answer is, you need to really believe. Okay, so true story. Okay, now. So we've had the Qi Nan, we've had the Sandu and the Arqiu, 7 difficulties, 3 poisons, and 2 requests, boy or girl. There is this analogy here about the comparative merit and virtue. That's what's here, and limitless and boundless. Okay, let's do this part down to here. Let's see here. Starting here. Okay. Okay. Right there. We ready? 无尽意，若有人受持62亿恒河沙菩萨名字，复尽情供养饮食，衣服卧具，医药，与汝意云何？是善男子善女人，功德多否？无尽意言，神多世尊。佛言：若复有人受持观世音菩萨名号，乃至衣食礼拜供养，是而人福，正等无异，欲百千万亿劫，不可穷尽。无尽意，受持观世音菩萨名号，得如是无量无边福德之力。Okay. So this whole thing. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Ayo. People online couldn't recite. Okay. So we'll do the English together. Okay, sorry. Right here, starting here. Ready? Infinite resolve. Suppose someone held the names of bodhisattvas to the number of grains of sand in 62 million Ganges rivers. And for this person's entire life, made offerings to them all of food and drink, clothes, bedding, and medicine. What is your opinion? Would the merit and virtue accrued by that good man or woman be abundant? Infinite Resolve replied, extremely abundant, world honorable. Very great indeed. The Buddha said, yet if someone else held the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva, bowed and made an offering but one time, the blessings of these two people would be identical, the same in every way, and would endure for quadrillions of eons. Okay, infinite resolve, holding the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva, brings blessings and benefits as limitless and boundless as these. Alrighty. Now, what does it say? This is the Buddha's giving us a sense of comparative blessings, merit, and virtue. So, he says, suppose, this is hypothetical, suppose there was a person who recited other bodhisattvas' names. Dizan Pusa, Dashizhi Pusa, Wanshushili Pusa, Shancai, Tongzi Pusa, etc. How many? As many as grains of sand in 62 million Ganges rivers. That's a lot of grains of sand. It's just a big number. That many, if you had the name of all those bodhisattvas, and furthermore, not only held their name, Namo, Namo, but for your whole life long, made offerings to them of food, drink, clothes, bedding, medicine. Those are what are called 4GuanYin, the four things that you need to sustain your life. The Buddha says, what do you think? If somebody did that, recited their names and made offerings to them, would that person have a lot of gongda, gongda dofa? Infinite Resolve says, yeah, a lot. You get a lot of gongda, a lot. The Buddha says, okay, hold that number, and then suppose there was somebody who recited the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva, bowed to Guanyin, and made an offering just once. The blessings of those two people would be the same in every way and would last. You get a lot of blessing. Okay? So, comparatively, Guanyin Bodhisattva's name, bowing, holding her name, bowing and making an offering, brings a lot of merit and virtue. How much? The amount of names of 62 million bodhisattvas, 62 million Ganges River sands, numbers of bodhisattvas, and made offerings your whole life long. Guanyin Bodhisattva's name is the same. Why is that? Because Guanyin was a Buddha and decided to come back and help and made vows and said, recite my name and I will help you. That's why. Okay? So, comparative. Guanyin says, that's how much? That's a lot. That's a lot. So, if I were you, the Buddha is saying, I would bow to and recite and make offerings to Guanyin Bodhisattva. Okay. Now, what comes next is this one, the 32 responses. This is a comparatively large section of the sutra. It takes a while to get through it, and it's very repetitive. The passage is whatever body is needed to take someone across, Guanyin Bodhisattva appears in that body and speaks the Dharma for that person. That's the idea. So what we're hearing, what comes up next, is what are called yingshen, response bodies. And this is there's this teaching in the Buddha Dharma called the three bodies, Sanshan Fa. It's known in Sanskrit as the Trikaya, the three bodies. And it's magical. Try to explain it by science. Science doesn't go there. Because why? Dharma body. Ooh, what's a Dharma body? The Dharma body is everything and everywhere. You can't grab it. It's invisible, but it's everywhere. The reward body are these. This is the Buddha in his reward body, Vajrochana. Long earlobes, the swastika symbol, golden skin, etc. That's the Baoshan. The first is the Fashan, this is the Baoshan. Then there's the Yingshan, and they say there's Qianbai, there's many, many, many. And you try to explain this, and you go, we have to take it on the Buddha's word, take it on faith, that these really happen. But the thing is, what they say is, every one of us sitting here at your bowing bench tonight, every one of us, wherever we are, listening online, tonight we have 66 friends online. We all can create those bodies when we become Buddhas. The moment we become Buddhas, these three forms, Dharma body, reward body, response body, all there. Everybody has them inside. It's kind of like software on your computer that you haven't booted up yet, right? Anybody have Microsoft Word on your computer? All of the functions in it, how much do you use? A little bit. All these, you can do page layouts, you can do data, everything. We only use a bit of it. Our bodies, our Buddha nature is the same. We got all these potentials, but we only call it a little bit. All right. So, just to know about that. Okay. I want to, here's my choices. We've got 15 minutes left. We keep putting the songs off because we keep running out of time. The stories are so many good stories. I think people prefer the stories. But what I would like to do is, because there's so much to get to, and tonight is Wednesday. Do we do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 more nights after tonight? Is that right, Jingpusher? Okay. So I want to get through the sutra. Okay. So that means you all are going to have to go with me through the responses. Let me do this. I will read it for you. How's that? I'll go quickly through the Chinese and English. You all can follow along, but if we do the call and response, it'll take too long. Okay? So let's do that. Here we go. You all can watch and read silently. 无极尼菩萨白佛言：世尊，观世音菩萨云何有此娑婆世界？云何而为众生说法？方便之力，其是云何？佛告无极尼菩萨：善男子，若有国度众生，应以佛身得度者，即现观世音菩萨，即现佛身而为说法；应以必之佛身得度者，即现必之佛身而为说法；应以声闻身得度者，即现声闻身而为说法；应以梵网身得度者，即现梵网身而为说法；应以地识身得度者，即现地识身而为说法；应以自在天身得度者，即现自在天身而为说法；应以大自在天身得度者，即现大自在天身而为说法；应以天大将军 ，pay attention to that one， 身得度者，即现天大将军身而为说法；应以毗沙门身得度者，即现毗沙门身而为说法；应以小王身得度者，即现小王身而为说法；应以长者身得度者，即现长者身而为说法；应以居士身得度者，即现居士身而为说法；应以宰官身得度者，即现宰官身而为说法；应以婆罗门身得度者，即现婆罗门身而为说法；应以比丘、比丘尼、优婆塞、优婆夷身得度者，即现比丘、比丘尼、优婆塞、优婆夷身而为说法；应以长者、居士、宰官、婆罗门、妇女身得度者，即现妇女身而为说法；应以童男童女身得度者，即现童男童女身 ，pay attention to that one 而为说法；应以天龙夜叉、乾闼婆、阿修罗、迦罗罗、金罗罗、摩诃罗伽人非人身得度者，即皆先知而为说法。And finally， 应以至金刚身得度者，即现至金刚身而为说法。Okay. We always catch the English. Here we go. All right. Because I keep forgetting. Okay, here we go. Again, the Bodhisattva, infinite resolve, asked the Buddha, World Honored One, how does Guanyin Bodhisattva travel through the Saha world? How does she speak Dharma for living beings? What manner of resourcefulness does she command? The Buddha answered Bodhisattva, infinite resolve, if there's a living being in some country who can be liberated by a Buddha, Guanyin Bodhisattva appears as a Buddha and teaches her or him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a Pracheka Buddha, she appears as a Pracheka Buddha, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a sound hearer, she appears as a sound hearer, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a Brahma heaven king, she appears as a Brahma heaven king, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by Chakra, she appears as Chakra, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a god of comfort, she appears as a god of comfort, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a god of great comfort, she appears as a god of great comfort, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a mighty general of the gods, she appears as a mighty general of the gods and teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by the god Vaisravana, she appears as Vaisravana, teaches him the Dharma. Somebody can be liberated by a minor king, she appears as a minor king and teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by an elder, she appears as an elder, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a layperson, she appears as a layperson and teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a minister of state, she appears as a minister of state and teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a Brahmin, she appears as a Brahmin and teaches him the Dharma. Somebody can be liberated by a monk or nun, a layman or a laywoman, she appears as a monk or nun, layman or laywoman, teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by the wife of an elder, layman, minister of state or Brahmin, she appears as a wife and teaches him the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a ladder maiden, she appears as a ladder maiden, teaches in the Dharma. If somebody can be liberated by a god, dragon, yaksha, gandharva, asura, garuda, kinara, mahoraga, who is that? Tianlong Babu, right? Human, non-human, and so forth. She appears accordingly, teaches in the Dharma. And if somebody can be liberated by a Vajra-wielding spirit, she appears as a Vajra-wielding spirit and teaches him the Dharma. Okay. Now, we've heard all of these Sanchara, 32 different forms. Guanyin Bodhisattva appears in 32 different forms, depending on what you can hear. Depends on you. Guanyin can make her body shift into all these different modes, all these different appropriate. When you think about it, it goes from Buddha all the way down to a Vajra-wielding, scary spirit. And in between, even non-humans. Guanyin can appear as a dragon, right? Whatever you need. Now, that's the Yingshan, that's the response body. And Guanyin is very good at doing that. And notice the last part, our Wei Shuofa teaches the Dharma, wants us to hear the Dharma and wake up when she appears. Okay, my story, I got 10 minutes here. In 1987, Shifu invited 100 monks, nuns, and laymen to the city of 10,000 Buddhas from China, mostly from Longhua Si and Yufo Si in Shanghai. Master Mingyang, Master Zhen Chan, and others. Lots of famous monks. Ren De Da He Shang, Ming Zhe Da He Shang. Oh, so many. Fo Yuan Fa Shi, Qing Ding Shang Shi. They all came. And so among them was a lay woman whose name was Men Yiping Jushi, from Dongbei. She was famous in the Dao Da Hui as a person who could Quan Dao. She could speak Dharma and make you believe. She was so good. So at the end, the group went home, and Master Mingyang said, you know, he said, we would like you to send some monks to Longhua Si and Chuanjie, Sanjia Chuanjie, Jieqi. And afterwards you can go to Chaobai Si Damingshan, you can go to the Four Holy Mountains. So Shifu talked to Men Yiping, who had stayed behind, this old laywoman from Dongbei, and said, Wan Lao Zhi, would you like to go to Putoshan? This very dignified woman broke into tears. All my life I wanted to go to Putoshan ever since I was a little girl, but I never got the chance. When I was young, we were too poor. And then when I was old enough, I got married and I couldn't just go. And now I come to America and you're letting me go to Putoshan. Of course I want to go, she said. So we got our delegation, and after the Chuanjie, the Jietan, we set off to Putoshan. And Putoshan is an island, you know. It's two islands, Puto and Loche, off the coast of Zhejiang, not far from Ningbo. You have to get on a ship, and you go on the ferry overnight, get there in the morning. And there is this cave called Fanyin Dong, Brahma Sound Cave. And you go out onto a very flat area, the tide is coming in, and it's rock and slippery because the seawater is whoosh, and the waves hit, and the sound of the Brahma sound is the sound of the tide. And so to get to Fanyin Dong, you go to the edge of this slippery rock, and there's a green metal ladder, painted green against the salt water. And you turn your back to the ocean and climb down the ladder, and there's a little fenced-in area, and the waves are breaking over you, you know, like that. And you turn around, and there's a little area about the size of two of those glass panels. And if Guanyin Bodhisattva appears, she appears in that area. And you have to, everybody's different, but Guanyin Pusa does appear to people who are sincere. And she appears differently to different people. So, oh my goodness, of course, we were all excited. Guanyin Bodhisattva appeared to us. Now, at this point, together with Maniping, we had both memorized the Pumanpin. I was in the practice of reciting the Pumanpin every day. Ying yi he shen de du zhe, ying yi tian wang, ying yi fo shen de du zhe, ji xin fo shen, er wei fo fa, ying yi bi zhi fo shen de du zhe, ji xin bi zhi fo shen, er wei shuo fa. I did it every day, and so did she. And my monk companion, Heng Chao, Marty, who was with us, he recited Guanyin's name, but he didn't recite, he wasn't particularly sincere on this practice. He had other practices. So he and I had climbed down the ladder, and we were there at Fanyin Dong with our group, and we heard very deep, we heard this sound. What's that sound? Must be Brahma sound. Okay, so Marty and the other ones, they kind of looked around, so they went back up the ladder. And I and Maniping were kneeling there on the wet stones reciting the Pumanpin. It takes a while to finish it. So she and I were the last two. And I was kneeling here and she was kneeling there. And I heard Maniping go, and I'm looking at her, and she's just, her face is just alight, and tears are coming down. I'm like, oh, what's going on with Maniping? And she's like that. And I turned back, and here in front of me was Guanyin Bodhisattva. Now, how do you suppose Guanyin Bodhisattva looked? Not what you thought. Weito Pusa was standing there like this. Tian Da Jiang Jun Shen. She had her palms together, and interestingly, there was a white silk scarf, like in Tibet they call them kata. She had a white silk scarf, and she was looking at me like this, staring, and she said, "The Buddha Dharma is not a joke. Stop goofing around." Like that. And I'm like, and she really fierce, really strong. "The Buddha Dharma is not a joke. Stop goofing around." And it's like, and I felt the kindness behind it, but it was a severe, fierce and gulp. And I looked back, and Maniping was like, she was just crying and sobbing. And so I looked back, and there were just the stones. Guanyin was gone. So I stood up, I finished Pumanpin, I stood up and I went over, and I said, "Manna Jushi, 你都看到观音菩萨是吧？"我看到了，这么可爱一个小女孩子，童女山。And I'm like, 童女山? I didn't see any 童女山. And so I said, "We better go up, they're waiting for us." And so we go back up the ladder. And they're all like, "Where you been? We've been waiting for you. Keep everybody waiting." I said, "Maniping saw Guanyin Pusa." They're like, what? 这么可爱，他一个男子，一个跳童女山的，真的，这么慈悲。I didn't tell anybody what happened to me. I let that be her moment. Right? So, like, I didn't want to tell everybody that I got scolded by Guanyin. Stop goofing around. So. So yeah, she saw a young girl. She saw a beautiful young girl holding a basket. It goes. If someone can be liberated by a lad or a maiden, she appears as a lad or a maiden and teaches her the Dharma. Tong Nu Shen. A young girl. What I saw was up here, mighty general of the gods, right? Weito Bodhisattva, like in armor, right? Like staring at me with a helmet and palms together like this. And there was kindness there, but it was not a joke. And so when I told the Sherpa, the Sherpa said, so? So, what do you think? Okay, so, yeah, Guanyin Pusa shows up to Qing Fen Xiang Ping Mo. Okay, Guanyin Pusa, Ying Yi He Sheng De Du Zhe. Whatever body is needed to teach someone, she appears in that body and speaks the Dharma. Okay, now, tomorrow, here's give you previews of coming attractions coming up. Not that. Let's see here. It's not what I want. What happens next is a very, very interesting passage. There is an encounter between Guanyin Bodhisattva and the Buddha, and the Bodhisattva Infinite Resolve, who is remember, he's the one who asked the initial question. He wants to make an offering to Guanyin. So he takes off his beads and gives them to Guanyin. Guanyin says, no, don't want them. And he gives them again, no, I don't want them. The Buddha says, you can take them. Let him plant blessings. So Guanyin takes the beads, divides them, gives some to the Buddha and some to the stupa of Dobao form, many jewels. And we'll go into that. It's like, what is that encounter doing in our sutra, in the Pullman? Why is that here? We'll look into that tomorrow night. After that, that's the last of the prose. Look what happens next. The verses show up. These are the verses. And the verses restate the earlier part, but they do it in verse form. They do it in musical form. So we'll sing these together. And there are people who just memorize the verses because they're wonderful. They're just wonderful. Other people they didn't pick it up going through the prose, they'll pick it up during the verses, the gist of Guanyin Pusa. Nian bi Guanyin li, be mindful of the strength of Guanyin Bodhisattva. Okay, our time is up. How's the reciting going? Everybody still, throats are okay? Haven't got a sore throat from too much chanting, and you've had that delicious food, and I'm sure that the nights here are quieter than Kuala Lumpur, right? It's very nice and quiet here. It's a beautiful place to rest. You can feel the goodness of Australia, particularly at night. So hope everybody is appreciating there's no pollution here. Did you notice? No pollution at all. The ocean is just 14 miles that way, and we get the beautiful, occasionally there's smoke from bushfires, but the air is so clean here. And have you all seen the wallabies and the kangaroos? Not yet? Oh, you should come over to 102. I've got kangaroos every day. Yeah. And Ben and I fed possums tonight before we came over. I have a little possum who was there eating on the way here. He was eating bananas and apples. The kitchen provides me bananas and apples and mangoes and good stuff, and the possums are so grateful. And I recite Guanyin's name and the Buddha's name and Amitofo and feed them. So, yeah. Let's see, actually. Hold on, don't go away. Here we go. Okay. This was taken 3 nights ago. Mango! That was on the way over. That's a possum eating mangoes, so happy. Right? This is called a short-eared possum. This is Ben's photo. That's my railing. Muwa. Oh, mango. No, it's mangwa. Mango. Okay, so this is a wonderful place to rest and recharge. When you go back to KL, of course, you have to go back to work, to families, to children, to all the responsibilities. So take every opportunity to recharge your batteries here. And of course, that's physical. Spiritually, of course, we're really, really blessed. And I know you're all making the most of reciting Guanyin's name to benefit the whole world. And here's how we do it. We transfer merit. Make a gift of all of your hard work here. Okay, you're ready? Got your bows ready? May every living being our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, humanity, and pride. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward, may all who sorrow leave their grief and grief. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and one. May all become compassionate and one. You know, I left out the part that Guanyin Bodhisattva gave me my message in English. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, 到此为止，阿弥陀佛. That'll do it for us for tonight.